1270 WHEO. Time for another episode of Be Real with your host, I guess me, Daniel Lewis, and brother Brad Haynes. How you doing?
Doing good, man.
Yeah.
You look like you are too, and sound like you are.
Yeah, doing pretty good this afternoon. You know, we got that, whenever the humidity comes out and you're kind of in it, which you know this better than I do, it kind of drains you a little bit. So it's kind of been a little bit of a slowness this afternoon on the radio.
I'm with you, man.
And the thinking and everything.
Yeah, and I'm right there behind you, man. I've been hilling up potatoes all day, literally all day. So I've been in the sun hilling up the old taters, man. So I'm a little slow too. So between me and you, we'll kind of just be, you know,
we're just hanging out this afternoon.
Late spring, pre-summer, you know. It's been kind of warm, but it's been so nice.
It has.
With the sunshine. I mean, it has been warm and everything, but, you know, I'll take it, man, compared to the rain last year all the time. And the rain was good at first, but then, like we had talked about before, you know, with the clouds and hurting some of the stuff and everything.
There's a lot of it last year. And now we're kind of seeing a lack of it.
We really are.
Yeah.
You know.
I've seen the things kind of turning brown. Everything's kind of turning brown, so you really don't notice it unless you really look close that, wait a minute, these yards are really a brownish green.
Right.
They're still green, but they're like a brownish green. They're not the luscious green we saw about a month and a half ago.
I'm with you, man.
And so hopefully we'll get us some rain.
I'm believing in it, man.
Yeah.
I mean, I really am, and we'll just hope that it comes this evening and tomorrow.
Yeah.
You know, I hope.
That'd be nice to get in quite a few days of it.
It really would.
But I'm enjoying the sunshine. Like you said, I love it. You know, right now it's a little hot out there. We got 90 degrees outside with the humidity and the sun. But the late afternoons, the early mornings, oh, man, it's been great. Me and the Chihuahua's been hanging out there on the porch. Birds flying by.
Cool.
You know, she's been chasing squirrels.
Great.
And so, yeah, it's been really nice in the mornings and in the afternoons.
It's like being at the beach. Sometimes you'll catch that smell and the breeze that's been blowing, and I kind of feel like it. Sometimes it's with this weather we've been having.
Very thankful to the Lord for living in Patrick County to where I can get out there, you know, get up a little early. Sometimes just get up a little early just to get out there while the sun's coming up, and you can hear everything starting to wake up and chirp, and you know,
it's wonderful.
It is, and you don't have to worry. You know, you're not hearing cars and sirens and
choking on smog, and
you can actually see the sky.
Yeah,
you know, it's really nice, and so it's a blessing to be living where we're at.
That's right.
You know, some people call it it's like secluded. I know when I was a teenager, I was like, I got to get out of here. This place is just, there's nothing to do here.
Right.
But now I've learned, since I've moved away and come back, that I don't want to be anywhere else.
Right.
That I enjoy having nothing to do.
Exactly. Well, you've got to experience.
We got a lot of stuff to do if you just look for it.
That's right.
But I got experience in loving, you know, like you said, just, you know, there's just having nothing to do. I mean, really.
Sometimes you got to go through the rain to enjoy the sunshine.
Ain't that the truth?
You know, and realize the difference between the two.
Yeah, I just wasn't made for city life. And I know there's folks out there. I've got some friends that live in cities, actually all over the country, and they wouldn't have it any other way. They're like, I don't know how you live in the boonies.
I know, man.
You know, don't you like want to go to somewhere to eat sometime, you know,
right.
Besides those three places.
Right.
And I'm like, no, you know, basically we eat at the house.
I'm with you,
know,
man.
we don't really go out and eat much at all. We just kind of get our stuff and go home.
I mean, it is the simple life, man.
It is. It really is.
Those who enjoy it really enjoy it, and those who don't really don't. You know, it's different strokes for different folks, and that's cool, because if not, it wouldn't be the simple life. You know, everybody'd be here trying to enjoy it, and we couldn't. So it's neat how everything works.
I always thought it was neat when I used to go to the beach with my parents. You know, we went just about every year to Myrtle Beach, and I remember going down the road, and Dad, you know, these other cars are going this way, and we're going toward the beach, and Dad said, "You see these cars going that way?
Yeah,
they're going on vacation."
Yeah.
I said, "Well, they're heading the wrong way." He goes, "No, they're going to the mountains."
Right.
And these people down here go to the mountains vacation. The people in the mountains go to the beach for vacation. I said, "Well, I never really thought about that before."
You know? Where did you go, man? Where did y'all always go in Myrtle Beach? Around about the area.
Just the South Myrtle Beach.
Yeah, me too.
Yeah, it was, I can't remember none of the
Was it Ocean Lakes, man? Because
I stayed there, actually, when I graduated. Because it wasn't with my parents, but
Right.
when I graduated, we had Beach Week, the seniors take off, and there's probably a few down there now, or maybe they've got it planned for next week. I'm pretty sure they still do that, some of them.
Right.
But me and 4 guys had rented a place in Ocean Lakes, and that was my first experience at Ocean Lakes. We even got a golf cart that week,
yeah, man.
and basically destroyed it.
Yeah, I mean, but as I talk to people, it blows me away how many people go to Ocean Lakes, man. It's like almost everybody I talk to from Mystery and back home, where I'm from in Broadway, is the same thing. And I mean, everybody, man, seems like goes there. And then I have family lives in South Carolina and stuff too, man. And, everybody around there, it goes too. So it's
a pretty good sized park.
It's pretty wild, man.
Yeah, it is.
But it's strange to me that when I ask, man, that comes up time and time again after all the places.
I see the little stickers on people's windshields. You get like, I think if you have a place or maybe something down there, or when you go in there, I think we had to like get a permit so we could park our cars or whatever.
Yeah.
It's like a little sunshine with glasses on it, and you get the year on there.
Yeah.
So you see these little stickers all over the place. 2009, 2011.
That's where we went.
Like, that's Ocean Lakes. That's where they went.
I'm with you, man.
So yeah.
Well, that's cool, man. I
remember stealing toilet paper out of the bathroom so we could have some toilet paper.
I'm with you.
Yeah, we were out of toilet paper, and it was like 2 o'clock in the morning
during Beach Week.
We were hurting during Beach Week, and so they were like, we don't want to drive all the way out here and go get no toilet paper because it's pretty good used to be a pretty good little ways to Kmart or Walmart or something.
Right.
So I was like, why don't we just go to the bathroom and just like unroll a bunch?
Yeah.
And that way we have some. And so we went in there and there's this massive roll just laying there.
Right.
I mean, it's like 1.5 foot across, 2 foot. So we swipe it.
I'm with you.
And so, I was a thief.
Well, you were a kid, man.
Yeah.
I'm sure, man, we'll say a little, hidden prayer here.
I just now remember that. So, Lord, please forgive me for stealing the toilet paper.
Yeah, exactly, man.
Yeah.
And right now there's a kid there doing the same thing. And
hopefully I didn't give anybody any ideas.
Him too.
That's something you don't think about when you're 18 is to take extra toilet paper. It's we had us a trailer down there, and that we rented for the week, and that's the way to do it. It was a whole lot cheaper than getting a motel.
Sure.
Between the 4 of us, it was very inexpensive, and we stayed the whole week. When we saw a bunch of our friends, they were like, "We're down here for 2 or 3 days, beach week," and I'm like, "We're down here the whole week."
Nice.
So it was
cool, man.
It was a blessing at the time. I didn't realize how much. Now that I look back on it, it was fun.
Of course. Man.
So if you're thinking about
a rite of passage.
Yeah. So if you're out there and you're thinking, oh man, I don't know if I should let my child go. Let them go.
Yeah.
Because I'm telling you what, it's
of course. You only graduate once.
Yeah.
You can't hold on to them. At this point, they're moving on. I was actually thinking about that, man. I don't know. It had to be
something they'll
hard.
never forget.
It is, man. It's hard. It had to be hard on my mom to let me do a lot of the things she did and everything. But the Lord, man, He's protecting and controlling and working all that out. So, I really believe that. Look, at my life and your life, I know, man. He was in control and taking care of us a lot of times in spite of us. And He is with everybody all the time,
I can look back at it now and realize how many times He was working in my life and I didn't even realize it.
Sure.
And I was thinking, I was in sin and He was working in my life, but He was working in other people's lives for me.
Of course, man.
And I can see that, and I'm like, and of course the intercessory prayer.
Right.
I don't know whoever or however anybody was ever praying for me, but I know my mother was, and I know my grandma was.
Of course.
So that's I know that made a major difference in my life. And that's one of the things I actually thought about today was parents, raising up their children to know the Lord, and not relying, because I had heard a sermon this morning, actually it was playing about people relying on the pastor. And the pastor was preaching this.
Right.
And it was like it's required, because I pay my tithes, that the pastor is the one that goes and visits the people in the hospital. Sure, he might have that time or that week off, but it's in the Bible, it doesn't say get your pastor to go visit the folks. And what he was talking about is people pay.
Sure.
As Americans, we just pay and we presume for somebody else to do it.
Of course.
We have elected officials. We elect them. We pay them to do things that, could we do them? I don't know, maybe we really could do them, but we pay them a lot of money with really good retirement, and then we complain about the decisions that they make.
Right.
But we elect these officials to do this. Well, the same thing is the way the churches run these days. We think because we pay the pastor or whoever, assistant pastor or whatever you got going on, that they are the ones with the responsibility of going and visiting the sick, visiting the widows, leading people to Jesus.
Right, man.
It's the Christian.
It is,
if
man.
you call yourself a Christian,
it's the body. I mean, the whole body. It's not just one person. And, it's not a job. It's a calling, and there's different spokes of that wheel, my call is to preach. And when the Lord brings other people, across my path and things where my personal interaction and relationship, like the Good Samaritan, man, when I come across someone, I can do something. I try to, but, just trying to go out and do a bunch of that stuff, but to say I do it, I don't do that because I'm called to preach, to get in touch with Him and to bring the Word and that stuff. And we all have different calls, and when we come across somebody in our daily life and we can do something about it, then we're supposed to. And isn't it just as simple as that? But so many of us want to pass the buck, man, and just, have all these other institutions and organizations and things where we can hand people off. And I'm not saying I'm against those things, but I'm saying so many times they become a handoff when, if we were really being the church, we probably wouldn't need a lot of this stuff.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? But I just, and all that comes down to what you and I have always talked about, which is just connecting with Jesus, man, and letting Him transform you and reflect. Like, He's going to do His stuff through you when you do that. And that's back to the living sacrifice. And, even back to the Old Testament, when those two sacrifices were made, He wasn't pleased with the one that wasn't living.
Yeah.
And then He says in Romans 12 to make yourself that living sacrifice, and all that stuff's going to happen through you. But when it becomes a job and it's like, well, this is just a job description, then I agree with you, man. It's like, what are we doing? And there's no heart in it. And and what about all the people that are coming across those people that are just walking, saying, well, I've got other business to do, and just stepping right over them,
or throw money at it.
Well, of course, man.
Yeah,
just
like
to ease your own conscience. And,
well,
and,
I gave,
and only
I
you
gave
can.
my money.
Right.
I gave my money. That might not be what's called for. I don't see anywhere in there actually where it says give your money and then just walk away.
I'm with you.
I mean, you're helping somebody out by giving your money. Everywhere I see in there is time.
Right.
You're giving your time.
Well,
you're giving of yourself.
There was the cool in that Good Samaritan thing, man. I think that it was both. He said he paid for the dude to stay there and for him to house him. He had the funds, and he was like, I'm gonna pay for this guy to stay here while I go and do this, and I'll pay his bill, whatever, and then I'm gonna come back. And so, I think, and I don't know, man.
But he took him there.
He did.
He picked him up.
I agree.
And cleaned him.
He did.
And washed him, and then put him on his donkey, and then
treat him like a brother.
Yeah, treat him like a brother, and took care of him, made sure he was okay. So not saying the payment's not involved in it,
right?
But there is.
I agree with you.
You gotta get your hands dirty. I do.
You do
believe that. Everywhere the Lord went, he was involved.
That's right.
In everything he done. And so. But anyway,
I'm with you, man.
That's I heard him talking about that, and that's really got me thinking about the kids, because that's where the heart, that's where the Lord's had my heart for years, ever since I started going, was the youth,
right.
And raising it upon my own kids. I have a greater responsibility for my own kids, but I do look at others, especially the ones that I have in my youth class. I treat them just the same as my kids,
right.
And I try to teach them as much as I can, but I only see them once a week. And then they got the whole world the rest of the week. And that's just like everybody else out there that's not getting into the Word and knowing Christ for themselves,
right.
And just depending on Sunday as that's all I need for the rest of the week.
Yeah.
So it just worries me for the kids. We're old enough to where we can wipe our own rear ends.
Right.
And the judgment's going to fall on us individually. But for our kids, we're responsible for them.
Right.
And just like me, I want to see my kids not only know Christ and know their purpose in life, but also one of these days get that promise of eternal life in heaven with Him.
Right.
And so I can see them again. That's my kids. They're the major responsibility there. And I was thinking to myself, and it's come across as my son before also, that you tell them these things, and I don't ram it down their throats as people would say. I tell them that it's their choice, but I do talk about it quite a bit, because Jesus is a major part, the major part of my life. So they hear it all the time. But you hear folks say, "Well, I talk about it, but they don't want to hear it. They're ignoring me." But one of the things that Jesus showed us that we could also do, besides just talking about the gospel, was showing the gospel. So we show Jesus in our actions. What are we doing? Are we lying in front of our children over the little smallest things? How are we reflecting God to somebody that mirror images us and wants to do everything we do? You can see little kids just doing everything. Where'd they learn to say that? Oh, that was Danny. That was Daniel. That's where they learned to say that, or where they learned to dance like that, or they were watching TV. They watch you, whether you know it or not. Little kids are watching, and they get mad about things they don't even know about because you're mad about them. And so I just wanted to stress that as my part this afternoon. Is I'm not trying to teach anybody how to raise their kids, but just to you don't hear it a lot.
Well, man, like when you were talking about that, it just reminded me when you were talking about the Word before all that, and inspiring them, and that they didn't want to listen, and just the way that the whole thing is now, man. Why we're doing this about being real, because the Scripture, man, isn't like it's like we just read it and it's like, okay, I read it and now I did a good thing, and we don't look at the meaning. And that's the whole reason, man, that I am called to preach everything, is to say this is living water. It literally is. I mean, you have to get in there for yourself. Yeah. and really give your heart over to it, and not try and go to the Bible doing like searches trying to back up something that you've already embraced.
Yeah.
But sitting down like a child, man, with Jesus saying, all right, just teach me here and read this and looking, and then it starts coming to you, man, in a different way. And if you never do that, I really believe, man, you never get it, and it's not about the reading. If you can't read, listen to it on tape, but you have to be taken in this living Word, changing the program, and man, it's like, it's what I have so much passion about it, because it's so real. It's like me and you talk about it for hour after hour, like it's like a movie or a game or whatever, and with that same intensity and passion, and it's so fun. And when you learn something new and the things, it's just that, to me, is what we're supposed to live, and just live that out. I hope people feel that in my voice, that, man, that dude is really, like, he really believes it, because you know what, I really do. Yeah. And that, I think,
when you get to know him, I mean, it's like it becomes a passion or something. I mean, different. I don't know. I can't just, it's like,
it doesn't just sound like words anymore, and I think that's what the disciples had, and I think that's what we need to, I don't know, man, like when you were talking, it's like this joie de vivre, man, this essence, this human essence of who we are, that we have to get in contact with, that's what all the distractions and Satan and everything, man, doesn't want us to be who God created us to be. Yeah. Jesus is in us, and when we are that, man, we're alive.
We are.
And it's fully alive, and it's different and all that, and it is cool, and it's Jesus, and it's everything, man. And and that's, you have to start that journey though for yourself, anyone, and get in there and do it. And you and I have to continue to do it every day ourselves, because Satan will steal that seed, and man, will be going the opposite way.
Yeah. Back into it. It's crazy. We've talked about that before. I think it's been a while back. Me and you spoke about getting the Word in there and how important that is. And I've even come to you and I've been like, I haven't read in like 4 or 5 days, and you can really feel it.
You can.
And what happens is, and this is really weird, you read and then you don't read for like 3 or 4 days. You'll get back into, like you just said, of doing stuff.
Worldly
mindset and getting to the distractions, and you don't really realize it. But you do feel like an emptiness or something. I mean, it's like I don't know. It's just something is not right, and you go, wait a minute. I haven't. When did I even spend any time with the Lord this week? How much time was I on Facebook today? You wouldn't believe how many times I've done that.
Sure, man.
How much time have I spent on Facebook this week?
And
how much time have I spent with Him?
What if 4 days then turns to 7, 10,
Yeah.
20, 80,
And it will.
200, and then, man, before we know it, like we're believing those lies again, stuff that's just been, man, thrown at us. And, man, that's why we're aliens. When you really believe the Bible, you are an alien in the world, because it's like what you really believe, I just don't believe that, because I just have faith in the Lord. And He's going to bring me through this, and, the whole 9 yards. And you're just, you have to stay in that, man, to keep that armor on and doing that and giving your heart to Him. And you want to, because you're seeking it.
And you gotta watch too, because I've went through it 100 times and I still go through it, that I want to read, but I don't want to read, and I'll look for any excuse not to read.
Right.
You know what I'm saying?
Of course.
I'll look for any excuse. I mean, there's sometimes that I'll grab the Bible, and I'll sit it near my chair at the house, and I'll sit down and I go, wow, my eyes are just kind of dry because I mowed the yard this morning. I think I just want to sit back and watch TV. Well, I'll watch somebody preach a sermon. That'll be just as good as reading the Word.
Right.
And no.
I'm with you, man.
I know that there's great sermons out there.
Sure.
I know there's great people giving these sermons.
But what about the one-on-one?
It's
just
the one-on-one.
individual.
You're putting somebody in there. I mean, you're basically, if you think about it, you're sitting there listening to somebody tell you about the Lord.
Right.
And that man can make mistakes.
Of course, man.
But when you have the Bible, you're listening to the Holy Spirit.
That's right.
He is speaking through the words.
That's right.
He says the Word. He's speaking through the words directly to you. There is no mediator.
I agree, man.
Our only mediator is Jesus Christ.
See, what I believe I Am Man is called to preach is to inspire people to have an individual relationship with Christ.
Yeah.
That's the whole reason I'm preaching, and
to wake them.
Yeah,
wake
exactly. To lead them to that individual thing, and they're going to learn that. That's why I don't call myself or think I'm a teacher. I said you only got one teacher, and I don't split hairs over that word or anything like that. But I think it's about inspiring people to live it, and then walking beside them as they do when He brings you across their paths. And we make it just so lame.
Yeah.
Don't we? I mean, we just make it so like blah and blah, and without life and without Him, and we do everything like that, man.
Yeah.
I mean, it's being human, it's part of the flesh, man. It's just it's what we are, and that's why we have to yield to Him and everything, man. But
we need Him.
We do, man. And
once you realize the truth, it's not really. I mean, it's you want to tell other people about Him. I mean, because I know I do. I just lived a crazy, wild life of not knowing Him, and then when can you shut that door right there? Somebody's really wanting to get in here, and we're trying to do a live show, and there's nobody here.
Yeah.
So anyway, hopefully the Jeep's not on fire or anything, because they're really tearing the door down trying to get in here.
It'll be okay.
It'll be all right. So anyway, but I mean, it was just, I had lost my way and didn't realize, and would hear so many things about different religions and different things, and, I don't know. I was trying what the world was giving me. And, all that stuff just leads to death. I mean, it leads to a life that you don't know your purpose, and you don't know why you're here, and you don't know what you don't have, and sometimes you don't have anybody to turn to, because when you do have that girlfriend or that boyfriend, and then they turn on you, or something happens in between you and them, it just feels like you're alone, and it can really shred people down, to nothing. I mean, you know, if you've ever been hurt by somebody, a best friend, it doesn't necessarily have to be a wife or a husband, but it can be a best friend or.
Man, they're about to knock the door down.
They are really.
That's pretty wild.
Yeah, they're hitting it so hard now that it's actually shaking the windows in the control room.
Man.
So, yeah, the office is closed, and we're doing a live radio show.
I'm with you, man.
So anyway.
We'll just say a little prayer for him, and I don't know who it is, but, you know, whatever.
Lord, give him patience.
You know.
So,
let's just.
I done lost my train of thought.
I did too.
now,
Can we break it up, man? I want to get back to, of course, talking about Jesus, man, and everything.
Main
but just
thing.
it reminds me of the whippoorwill, and I brought the sound, man. This is fresh off the grill.
This is the guy.
I mean, it's this morning.
Or girl. This is the whippoorwill.
I mean, straight up this morning, man, and still the same thing. You know, in the
I was wanting to hear him last Wednesday, so I greatly appreciate you.
You know, so
At what time was this? This is this morning at
about 5:15.
5:15.
You know, it comes at the end of the day and the beginning of the day. So, you know, as the light changes, it changes. But about 8:30 and 5:30, so about 9:45, you know, that 8:45, you know, that kind of deal in the morning. But man, I'm telling you, listen how loud this is. I equate it to an alarm clock, and I love this guy. Don't get me wrong, but I was up waiting for him this morning. You know,
and this has been going on for 4 years.
4 years.
His fourth year.
It's his fourth year. He does it for 3 months at a time, every day.
So when did he start this year? About a month ago?
About a month and a half ago, maybe a little longer.
Yeah. So he's about halfway through his regular schedule.
Yeah. So, I mean, but it's amazing sitting, I mean, I'm not exaggerating, same place every time. I mean, and I've got it on here. I say some stuff at the end. I'm not going to play the whole thing because it's a couple minutes. He'll do it until you run him off. But imagine listening to this until you ran him off if it went on 10 minutes. You can hear, I'm going to put it up, you'll be able to hear this other sound that he makes, this breathing in this other sound.
That. Yeah.
And I'm telling you, man, it's pretty wild. So here we're going to go. He's just getting going now. He hadn't even. He hadn't gotten fired up yet.
That sounds just like a car alarm.
Can you hear that other clicking sound?
It's like a clock.
And then that's right outside my window. I mean, that's through the window. You know, I mean...
That's like it's on repeat.
And he'll do it until you run him off. And I know people won't believe me, so I've got all the different days, and I'm running him off and opening the door. There's me talking. I'm going to have to run him off here in a minute.
Now, have you ever...
That rascally wabbit.
Have you ever sit there and see how long he would go? Or you just can't take it after about 10 or 20 minutes?
I mean, I take it as long as I can, man.
Really?
You know,
Just open the door.
You know, and we do like it. I mean, don't get me wrong. You know, I mean, I enjoy, but it's amazing.
That is
amazing. To think about that every day on my stoop.
Wow.
I mean, man, and I keep asking, Jesus, what do you show me? And man, I really feel for me, it's like, be consistent.
Yeah.
Because I tell you, man, if you ask me what's the song of the whippoorwill, I don't have any problem telling you the song. So if he's teaching me, Brad, just be consistent.
Yeah,
you know, with your life, just be consistent and biblical. I mean, you know, just stay consistent with it. Like, that's a great lesson to me, man. You know, because now, like I said, I used to get mad. Now I just get up. I'm waiting on him. You know, so I mean, I think that we're just supposed to be consistent. You know, and he's consistent, and that's the lesson he's teaching me. And it's like, man, with my garden, you know, I'm like a crazy cultivator. I cultivate almost every other day to keep the weeds out.
Cool.
Because you have to, if you don't, man,
stay on top of it.
It's taken me 10 years to really learn that if you want good fruit, you just got to be crazy and keep them before they establish. And that's like our faith, man. You know, it has to be all the time. Like, if the weeds start growing and choking stuff out, it's too late.
Yeah.
You know, you pull on the weeds, you pull out the plant. So you got to get it, man, the day that it sprouts up, then you take the little cultivator, you just rake through the top layer of the soil, and the weeds are gone. But you have to do it every day, it's the discipline. But it becomes, I have actually got to where that's like Tai Chi to me, just like doing it's my meditation. It's like, I mean, it's all coming together or something. So I'm learning from the whippoorwill, man. I got a long way to go, but I mean, it's a cool bird, isn't it?
It is.
But isn't that wild? Isn't it like the if you hit the snooze and it just keeps, I mean, isn't he loud?
It's funny that when I started off the show, I was actually talking about I wake up to a car alarm in the morning, and it's not actually in a car, it's actually my cell phone. But that right there really reminds me, and I was going to play, this is what I wake up to in the mornings.
It's similar.
Yeah.
It's like nature's version.
Yeah.
Wow.
And when you was playing that, I was like, that sounds just about almost exactly like that car alarm I wake up to.
That's pretty wild, man.
That's weird, ain't it?
It is.
And I've heard birds that actually sound like similar to those little... Yeah.
Oh, man, only me and you could have so much fun in here with sounds of the whippoorwill and the thing. We're just like a couple kids like, no, man, hear my sound. What got this sound? These crazy birds, man. We're having a lot of fun in here.
Cell phone and birds.
People don't realize how much fun it is, man. Just, to me, this is like fellowship and just, sometimes, man, it's fun just to crack up with people.
Yeah.
And just hoot around, man, and have fun. And
there's even scientific studies that say, about how laughter eases stress.
It does, man.
The Lord made us this.
I know.
He gave us this ability to laugh.
Yeah.
And there's so many times in my life, and, I would say that there's been only few, and I'd hate it for somebody that had been only just a few times in their life, that you laugh so hard that you actually start crying.
Right.
I've done that so many times.
Me too.
I mean, it's been a while here lately, but
it's
there's
great medicine.
Yeah, it is.
Solomon says it is. It's medicine for the heart, man. It's good stuff. It's just fun, man. And there's not any place that's pretty amazing, man. In the NIV, anyway, there's no place that it says Jesus laughed or anything. But I know that he did. I mean, I don't know it, but I would think, man,
you would think he did.
Well, all the time, and just the love and the laughter and
especially
everything.
Especially when the kids,
flows.
The kids come up to him and he grabs one of the children. He had to have a smile on his face. He wasn't just all serious.
Well, of course, man.
Yeah.
I mean, it's just pretty wild, man. Just being the emotion. I mean.
Yeah. We got somebody walking around out there now. It's Dean. There he is. So anyway, I guess that's going to do it this afternoon. We're just about out of time here.
Wrapping one up?
Wrapping it on up. I wasn't even paying attention to the time we got in here and started getting the whippoorwill and the car alarms going, and I started paying attention to the time then.
Well, man, I love doing this show with you, man, and just talking about the Lord, and I've gotten great feedback on it. We were talking about that before, man, and all the people that have come up to me at the market, thank all you guys. I mean, just for all the sweet and kind words that you guys have told me, and that y'all are listening, and that it means something to you, and that means everything to me. It's like the whole reason we're doing this. So I love that people are listening, and I hope that the word of mouth continues to spread and people enjoy it. And maybe at some point we will take a car or two. I don't know. I'm just loving doing what we're doing and following the Lord day by day, man, as this thing unfolds.
That's the truth. I just have to end with just about everything, just about every time I've ever ended, and just say one of the main purposes of doing this is realizing that Christians can laugh,
right,
have a good time, be real.
That's right.
And that's what God wants from you.
Exactly.
There's none of this, I'm high and mighty.
Right.
You got to be perfect to come to Jesus. That's why I need Jesus, because I'm not perfect.
Well, of course.
Nobody is. And that's our main purpose of needing him. I mean, the Lord made us this way to need him.
That's right.
That was his whole reason for coming down here anyway.
That's
to
right.
save us.
Yeah.
From our sins, because nobody's perfect. And he's the only one that's ever lived that perfect life. And I just pray that people get to know him and to seek him freedom.
And
that's
look,
something that I didn't do for 30 years, and I could, I regret that.
Right.
I do regret that because I don't know where I would be. I love where I'm at. Don't get me wrong. I love where I'm at.
And it was part of making you who you are now.
Exactly. And I have something that I can share with people what I've been through.
Of course.
I can see that. But, it just, for those 30 years, I was on a very thin line. Actually, I was not on the line. I was dangling.
Right.
And at any time, I could have lost my life permanently forever.
Right.
And so it's, I just want people to seek them. Even if you're not in a low place, you might be the highest point in your life, and you have everything going for you. Good health, kids doing great, parents doing wonderful, good home, nice car, driving to work. Everybody's got a job. Everybody's doing great. Still find that purpose for life.
Well, man,
find life.
Like you said before, this is temporary.
It is.
So, we have to keep that in the forefront of our mind, and man, seek first his kingdom and his righteousness, and everything else we need in this temporary form is going to be given as well.
Yeah.
But man, if we seek all that stuff, we're going to find out, man, when it's our time, that we didn't have anything that was enduring.
No.
If that's all that our life has been, and we're not seeking him, and we're not letting him live through us, and that's, man, I hope that inspires someone, because we're all going to meet Jesus, man, face to face one day.
Praise the Lord, yes.
And you're going to have to deal with him, and it's going to go one way or another. And only you know that in your heart. But I got to tell you the truth, as someone following the Lord, everybody's going to meet him.
Yeah.
Everybody that's ever been created is going to meet him. And what are we going to do with that? And I wouldn't let another minute get through without shoring that relationship up. And I don't want to let another minute unfold in my relationship with him where I'm not connected with him and trying to seek him first.
That's truth.
Because that's all that's going to matter in the end. And man, that makes life sweeter and more fun, and everything here.
Yeah.
It just does. And I didn't get that for a long time and everything, but it's true, and he'll unfold it.
He will. He's amazing.
Thanks, man.
Just get to know him.
It was a good time hanging with you today.
Yeah, same here, brother.
Thanks.
Look forward to next Wednesday, 3 o'clock, Lord willing.
Yeah.
We'll be here.
Sounds good,
Yeah.
man.
Look forward to hanging out with you.
All right.
Take care, brother.
We'll see you.
Appreciate that whippoorwill.
Yeah, whip on wheel.